Greetings, my friends. Bravo. It is so exciting for us here in the world of spirit to have witnessed what you have set out to do today and have accomplished because you have stepped into your divine energy. The master teacher, Jesus, came to the world and reinforced teachings that were already in existence, saying that ye are gods. Those were not vain words. Those were not idle words. They were the truth. You are gods because you are divine crystalline energy. You can create just as the world was created. You can create your destiny. You can create, manifest whatever you want in your life by going into that energy that you just did and manifesting it and visualizing it and knowing beyond belief, beyond doubt, that what you are commanding to happen will happen because that is your destiny. Ye are gods. And ye need to know that and remember that and use it as a tool in these days to come, for it will serve you well. So we in the world of spirit are most grateful and thankful for this new teaching and for this new understanding for you. It is something that we've understood once we get to this dimension, but as is being taught, you in the physical world are in spiritual amnesia. You have forgotten that you are God. You are forgotten that you can manifest. So this awakening is a very powerful one, and it's a very joyful one for us in the world of spirit. With that being said, we are open to your questions.
Oh, greeting, Carl and friends, and thank you for being here. The first question is from Susan. I have heard for many years that there would be something called the event. It would be some sort of wave of energy, light wave, or solar flash that would hit the earth, and everyone on the earth would get an upgrade, be lifted in a twinkling of an eye. It would affect everyone in a positive way, upgrade their DNA. After that, everything would be much lighter. Is there any truth to this or something like this? Thank you.
Yes, my friend, that prophecy is true. There will be a day where there will be lights all over. There will be a time where people will have this strange feeling coming over them. Some who are entrenched and chained in their dogmas and beliefs that was described in an old dead book. We struggle somewhat with this because they are not really expecting the right thing to happen, but it will affect them as well. It will upgrade people to a clearer understanding. It will change the vibration of the world, and people will be in a better situation. It will not correct the situation completely. There still will be growth and spiritual growth that will be needed, but it is like a jump start. It is look at it this way. If you have a automobile and for some reason you left the lights on and the battery is dead and your car will no longer start, you call a friend over with their car and they hook up the cables and they jumpstart you. What you are describing is a jumpstart for humanity. It will change their current. They will change their frequency, their knowledge. It will give them the energy boost that they need to start to perceive things on a very different way. Some people, it will be a tremendous change and a tremendous leap. For some people, it will be the first step, depending on what they knew before this event happens. Those who are more open to it will have a more a greater effect from it, a greater change. But everyone will be changed somewhat, and it will be the start of a new way of thinking and a more cooperative existence on the plane you are living on. Do you understand?
Thank you. And will this be rather soon?
This will take place when certain conditions have come about that will foster this experience. As you understand, time is not a constant per se, it is fluid. It is also, there is a variable, a variable that of thought. So that if too much negative thought is there, it prolongs when we can have this happen. So we cannot be precise on how soon or how long it will be, but no, it will occur.
Thank you. The next question is from Luvera. Babies are so cute and funny when they're trying to hold a conversation. I often wonder what they're trying to say. Do babies understand the sentences we use when we are speaking to them? Why do they laugh or smile while they're asleep?
Well, my friend, this too is a multi-layered answer because it's not all easy and one way to think about it. Number one, when a baby comes into the world, it has come from the world of spirit. In the world of spirit, spirits do not stand around and talk to each other. They communicate through what is called telepathy. They can read each other's minds. When a soul enters a physical body and is born into the physical world, it does not lose that sense of telepathy, that ability of telepathy initially. Eventually, yes, it fades as the baby learns language. But before that point, it is still quite active. And they smile and react to the people that they left behind in the spirit world because they are in communication with them. Converse in the same way, they also, since everyone, physical and spirit people, are spirit, they also can read the thoughts of their parents. They hook up telepathically in order to know what's going on. They do not have the ability to speak verbally, but they do communicate telepathically. The problem is the parents aren't using that form of communication and therefore don't usually understand what their child is saying unless they intuitively start to realize what the child is asking for or needs, whether they are hungry or whether they need their diaper changed or whatever it may be. So the answer to your question is they use telepathy. And then when they start to come to the realization that the world that they are living in exists through verbal communication and through language, they begin to start learning words. And as they start learning the words, they start to rely on that. You talked today about a change of perception. What happens is the child's perception starts to change and they start to focus on language and speaking, and they kind of forget and lose the ability of telepathy for the most part. Now, that's not 100% gone, and for some children, they retain it a lot more than others. But for the majority of people, they switch over to language. Do you understand?
Thank you. Another question from Luvera. Whatever happened to Amelia Earhart?
her plane fell into the ocean and she came into the world of spirit. It has not been the wreckage has not been found, nor has the remains of her physical being.
Okay, thank you. The next question is from Fenton. Did beings from other worlds have contact with ancient civilizations, such as the Egyptians, Mayans, Incas, and others? If so, what was the purpose of their interactions? Are there any current places on this planet where extraterrestrials reside, such as the South Pole, and what is their purpose for being here?
The people from the other worlds have visited this planet and still visit this planet on a very regular basis. In the ancient times that you were talking about, the civilizations you mentioned were visited by these extraterrestrials, these off-worlders, if you want to use that term. They came in order to help the people at the time. You must understand that at a certain point, certain tyrants, certain people who were tied with religions, enslaved the people's mind and turned them away from their own innate gifts of the spirit, their own innate telepathy in order to communicate with people living in other dimensions. As a result, the advancement of humanity began to slow down to a point that it was crawling instead of walking or running the way it should have been. The off-worlders came in order to help jumpstart, if you will, their civilization and try to release that bondage of mental slavery that was created. What they found was that they were not too successful in liberating the mind, but they could provide the technology and the knowledge to bring humanity a bit more forward in their development, and that is what happened in these certain situations. However, in some cases, these off-worlders understood that things were going to get even worse, and therefore they formulated and they caused molten rock to come over some of the creations that they had made so that this technology would not fall into ignorant hands, and therefore to protect it until a time where the rock could be removed and the technology be resurfaced once again. The off-worlders do not need to live on your planet per se. They can come and visit whenever they wish, for they have the ability to travel great distances in a very short amount of what you consider time. So they can be here when they need to, and they do not need to reside on your physical world in any special place, because there is really no need for that. So when the need arises, they come and visit and help to enlighten the people the best that they can at the time. Do you understand?
Thank you. The next question, we have two people with questions about the flat earth, so I'll ask both of the questions at once. From Linda, I have a question regarding the truth about flat earth. I have lately seen information that we have been lied to with regards to the earth that we live on. Could you please shed light on this matter? New information is coming forward that we do not live on a sphere, but the earth is actually flat. What is the truth? And additionally from Esther, is the earth round or flat with a firmament above and many lands beyond the ice wall?
There are many theories about your planet, some of which are true and some of which are not. The Earth appears to you to be flat, but yet it really isn't. Much of it has to do with perception. People get confused with interdimensional communications, and they cannot understand vibration. So they try to create a system of making it understood to people. But in actuality, they were really talking about different layers of frequency and not whether the earth is flat or whether it is a sphere. The earth has an atmosphere around it. That atmosphere has a spherical shape, and the earth itself is in a sphere, but the flatness that they speak of is really a perception that is not totally correct. You understand?
Okay, thank you. And from Mary, are the medications/pills that are available to take once one has been diagnosed with COVID, are they safe?
And the answer to your question is, which is safer, taking the pills or battling the COVID without them? The pills are definitely helpful in battling the disease. Are they totally without a side effect? Not exactly, but then none of your medication is without side effects. Will the pills help you to conquer the battle of conquering that virus? Yes, it will. It is proven to be quite effective in combating the disease if one contracts it. So it is beneficial to take it. And that's not to say that there might not be some side effects for some people. And again, as with most medications, some people are affected with the side effects and some people are not affected with the side effects. So it is very difficult to say for one particular person whether it is safe or not. But on the whole, it is beneficial to take those pills if one contracts the disease.
Thank you. The next question is from Peggy. With much focus on the abortion topic lately, I would like to ask the following questions. When does the actual entry of a soul come into the pregnant mother's body? Does the continuing life of a fetus depend on the timing of soul's entry? And what does Spirit have to say about any of this controversial matter?
The answer to your question is between the 100th and 110th day, soul will enter the physical body of the little baby that is forming. Now, let me explain what happens when a woman becomes pregnant. Her auric field changes color, and it announces to the world of spirit that a new vehicle, a new physical body is becoming available. And a soul decides to claim that body because they want to reincarnate through that mother. So the soul comes and attaches to the auric field energetically to the mother. When that happens, the soul becomes quite busy because it is the one that orchestrates the features of the baby that is being formed. It decides whether it wants curly hair or straight hair or blonde hair or red hair. It decides the color of eyes. It decides all the genetic things that scientists tell you about. They don't tell you about how it's decided between all the combinations. It's decided by the soul energy of the soul that's going to inhabit the body. Then at that point, it enters the body. Before it enters the body, it is just like a fingernail of the mother. It is it's part of the mother, but it is not its own living consciousness per se. And that is not to say the cells aren't dividing and forming and doing what it needs to do, but that's being orchestrated again by the soul of the baby. As far as how it's formed, but the actual mechanics and the building of the cells and this and the dividing of the cells is all done within the mother's body. As far as the world of spirit is concerned, there is no repercussions of having an abortion up to the point of when the soul enters the body. At that point, it doesn't affect anything. If the abortion takes place after this, and when the soul enters the body, the mother will know because the baby will feel a jolt and will kick the mother. It will move, and that's the first time that the mother has noticed any movement within her, and therefore that is when the soul has arrived. The soul does not exist before. The soul has not entered the body. It is in the auric field up until that point. And it will leave the mother if the baby is aborted at that point without any repercussions. When it happens after that point, there is some repercussion to the soul because the soul has certain expectations at that point that it is looking forward to being born and having that physical experience and that opportunity to learn and grow and experience things in the physical realm. It comes, as you know, as a kind of like a test. It is coming with a contract. It is coming with a mission to accomplish X, Y, and Z and meet certain people in order for them to accomplish X, Y, and Z. And that is all set. Was set before the baby entered into the auric field of the mother. So if the baby is aborted after the point that it is within the body, there is a certain amount of disappointment, there is a certain amount of distress caused to the baby because they were all set to have something happen, to have the experience, and now they can't. And so therefore it is not without some emotional kind of consequence on the soul. Not to say that will remain for a long time, but it feels not pain, but more disappointment than anything else. So that is the consequences of having an abortion, and it's after the point of when the soul enters the body. Do you understand?
Thank you. Very interesting. The next question is from Luvera. Has Joan of Arc reincarnated? And if so, who and where is she?
The question you asked is a very interesting one, and one that it kind of tickles us a little bit. Joan of Arc has reincarnated. She has come back several times. You, well, I shouldn't say you. Some of you have known her reincarnation because she inhabited her soul, who was once Joan of Arc, was also Carl Hewitt.
Oh,
So as of now, as you well aware, her soul is back in the spirit world. We find it amusing because this information was once asked before by the instrument who is speaking to you, and we answered his question begrudgingly, but we did. So it is interesting that the question has sprouted up once again. And yes, she was one who was born with the gift of clairaudience, and her clairaudience also led her to be able to prophesy. She was one who was guided by the world of spirit in her endeavors to lead and liberate her country from England. And she did so militarily, which was something that was totally unheard of in her day because women were not given any position of power. Women were not even allowed to leave their village by themselves, and she had to be accompanied by her uncle in order to go see the Dauphin, in order to start her mission. So yes, she did reincarnate, and of course, many of you know who she was in her last incarnation.
thank you. Wow. That's pretty cool. Okay, next question is from Linda. Is there a time in history when the government restarted a new timeline as part of a control mechanism to reset the energy on this earth?
Could you repeat that, please?
Yes. Is there a time in history when the government restarted a new timeline as part of a control mechanism to reset the energy on this earth?
There have been times when your calendar has been reset and adjusted officially by different people, but it was not so much to do with energy. It was what they considered astrologically an alignment with what they were perceived at the time. So we do not think that, yeah, we would say no.
Okay, thank you. The next question is from Esther. Please, Carl, can you tell us about ascension and how can we best prepare?
Ascension is the process of speeding up your physical body so that it goes into light, to actually speed up the molecules so they go faster and faster and faster. And then your soul and your physical body enters the realm of light. So you have to get it up to the number of the speed of light. For many people, that is quite a difficult task to do because they do not understand vibration and they do not understand how to control the physical body in such a way. We say to you to focus on learning and practicing and repeatedly go into your divine crystalline energy and to experience that energy. And then in that energy, you can program yourself to begin to learn how to have control over this technique. It is similar to those people who decide that they want to become a medium, and they go and they take classes and they practice and they practice and they learn the techniques, and they develop. Some people are natural born mediums and have the innate ability to communicate with the world of spirit. Other people are not naturally born, but could have the potential within their DNA, and therefore it begins to develop. So what we are saying to you is that the process that you seem to be interested in needs to be something that will be practiced in order to be attained. It is like learning to become clairvoyant or clairaudient. It is a matter of knowing the process and being able to tune your consciousness into that frequency. So it is a question of learning to to get your learning to get control over your frequency. That really is what it's all about. And that is something that can be learned, but it's not something that many people have tried to develop within themselves.
Thank you. The next question is from Carol. Why is Trump apparently still promoting the vaccines when he must know the harm and even death they cause people?
Let me say this to you. If I were to hold up a red piece of construction paper to you, and I told you it was blue, and you said, no, it's red, and I say it's blue, and this goes on and on and on, do you think that you'll ever get to the point where you will say it is blue? Certain people have certain beliefs about that vaccine, and you can talk to your blue in the face, and you cannot get them to change their mind. Even if you present them with 100 pages of facts, they will not change their mind. They will say the construction paper is red when it is actually blue, or vice versa. It is part of the human conditioning. So the person you are speaking about firmly believes that the vaccine was developed and can help people to avoid the disease, even though so many people have taken the vaccines and still get the disease, but they claim the virus has changed a bit and therefore is not effective. Well, if the vaccine was so effective, it would have taken account of different variations and so forth. But that's neither here nor there. What we're talking about is a certain mindset. You are living in a time where people have lots of different mindsets, and you can talk to each other and try to convince each other of the opposite point of view. But lately, it does very little good, and there is very little compromise between different points of view. So this is just another one of those examples, my friend.
Okay, thank you. We have a question from Carol B. Ramtha talked about the Ark of the Covenant, and that it's buried in the land of Sharon. I think that was it. Can you tell us about this weapon and how it came to be?
First of all, that it was not designed to be a weapon. It was designed to be a communication device between the world of spirit and the physical world. And it worked for quite some time. The Ark of the Covenant, as you are talking about, it acted as a sponge. So in other words, certain energy was needed in order for the communication to take place. And once it took place, a certain amount of that energy was retained by the physical ark. And over time, the energy became very, very powerful. So therefore, if someone who was not used to that energy came in contact with the ark, they would suffer what you would consider kind of like a big electric shock, if you could compare it to that. And therefore, they thought that it was a weapon, and it was the god that was associated with that particular device was not wanted to be tampered with or touched or this or that. It was just a buildup of energy, and therefore it really wasn't a weapon, even though it had detrimental effect to people who were not used to being in that energy. Do you understand?
Okay, thank you. And one other question from Lou Vera. Will we ever find Amelia Earhart's plane?
There will become a time where certain earth changes will cause certain shifts within the waters of the ocean, and her wreckage will be discovered at that point, because the ocean will not be as deep in that section of the world as it is in the present day.
Thank you so much. And we have no more questions. We're so grateful for you all for being here.
Well, it is our pleasure that we were able to assist you with your questions today, and we are hopeful that you will not only continue meeting as you are, but also will continue to employ the new techniques that you have experienced today in order to become your own medium, your own, be able to communicate with other people and other dimensions on your own, which is also the goal of what this new age is coming about. Because once we hit the age of knowledge fully and things have totally shifted, each and every human being will have the capacity and the ability to communicate through telepathy and through divine energy. The realization that you are gods, that you are divine energy, is going to happen. The spiritual amnesia will eventually fade. Maybe it will fade to a point where people will realize that they are gods and act as such. It will be a wonderful time on this planet, and we look forward to that day arriving. But we applaud you for taking your first steps towards that goal, and ask you to continue in its practice. Our blessings to you all, and our love to you all. So be it.